Hi, my name is Murat and I will now show you 6 usability violations I have found in this app. So the first one violates the second heuristic. When we click on an item, we see that instead of a simple button like buy now or add to cart, we see initiate asset procurement, which is a purely corporate jargon. So the user will be confused and will hesitate to click on it. Another problem is about the heuristic number 3. So the violation is that when clicking on checkout and then filling in the info, when we place the order, we don't see any pop-ups saying that are you sure you want to make this purchase, and we don't see any additional info such as your purchase amount will be, for example, 3 USD. But heuristic number 3 states that a user must have the emergency leave state so that they can leave before making an action, especially when we're talking about such an important action such as placing the order. So another violation is the violation of heuristic number 5, which states that the errors should be preventable, meaning that if I click here and go to checkout, so what we see is that when we see that here the zip code clearly accepts an invalid input, so there shouldn't be any letters here, and the same thing is about the credit card part, but there shouldn't be any letters here too, but the system clearly fails to validate this and doesn't prevent this anyhow, which results in me placing a wrong order. Another violation is the violation of the heuristic number 8, which is about aesthetic and minimalistic design. So what we see here is that we have added an item and there is 2 of them, but when clicking plus, we instantly notice that first of all, we can see the quantity here, but we can also see it here as a text. Furthermore, we can even see it here as an icon. So maybe this is relevant, but this clearly is not relevant and it takes space in the limited area, which distracts us, and this is clearly not needed. So this is not a minimalistic design. Another problem is the violation of the heuristic number 9. So basically when we go to checkout and we click on place order, this says box is empty, but this message is not helpful at all. Which box is empty? It doesn't clearly say that zip code box is empty or the credit card box is empty, so it doesn't really help, right? So that's the problem. And the final problem I'm going to talk about is the violation of the heuristic number 4, which is about consistency. So what we can do is we can go to checkout. I'm in the cart. And what we see here is that when we have 2 of these items, it says you have 2 plants in your cart. When we do it 3, it says there are 3 plants in the cart. When we do it 1, it says you have 1 plant in your cart. So basically what would be the ideal is that it says you have n plant s in your cart, but for each message we can see different structure. And this is not something really important, but it is a severe problem, although not very severe, because the user might wonder, why do I see different messages for this? Maybe I'm doing something wrong.